Things.
Yeah, so we'll record because it's a Sunday evening and I'm not sure everyone can come on.
Right.
And so yeah, we can get going. I just like for the people that are logging on right now, I mean, obviously it's all I invited everybody who is 11v11 and up just because I didn't want to waste time with the youngers, but I did want to invite the 11v11 because I feel that like snap your finger and these kids are sophomores and then juniors and then thinking about soccer. So at the college level and how to prepare for that. So I didn't want to
Oh,
leave
this
anybody
is,
out.
huh,
Now, obviously, it's very not
I'm
important
gonna
for
sign out of
2013s
this.
and 2012s, other than their overall like global knowledge, which knowledge is power, obviously, and knowing this stuff is going to be helpful and starting to think along those lines
Haha.
is also super
Right.
helpful. Um, so why not come on or at least look at a recording
Yeah.
um, down the road and start, and then you guys can obviously get your information out to this membership too at LA Breakers. Um, but yeah, I mean, we can get going. I also wanted to make it organic. Every year, for everybody who's coming on or on the Zoom already, every year we do once a year we do a college information Zoom. We've had different iterations of it, and I actually do want to send out last year's one because last year one was run just by me, and I invited on some college soccer coaches. This year, David and I met, and David want to introduce David. I mean, David has, and I have taken a couple meetings now, and he's in the business of trying to help, and he's going to give you guys his whole spiel with his group here. Um, and we got to talking, and I was like, you know what? I think a good way to do it maybe is to take a different angle and have you guys kind of give the information this way, and talk about your, program, and people can learn from that a little bit and potentially join up and use you guys. But for the college soccer process, for me, I used to do it, and then I had college coaches come on and just give information about the recruiting process and had various levels. And the coaches would have a little Q&A. I'm happy to be that person with the Q&A. It's nice having those voices out there, and I'm going to send last year's recording out on the back end of this too, so everyone can just watch last year's recording, which had Cal Berkeley, University of Laverne, and Cal State San Bernardino, along with me. So we had every single level covered. And for those of you that do not know me, most people on the Zoom are going to have awareness of who I am, but I'm the boys director at LA Breakers and sending the messaging on this stuff. But a secondary job, people might not know my full background, but my secondary job is the head coach at Santa Monica College. So I'm a community college head coach in the local area. We just finished our regular season, conference champions, and we are going into the
There you
playoffs
go.
coming up here. So we're revving to go, and we're in full stride alongside, all the other levels of college soccer. Now, the other levels of college soccer, you have above us NAIA, Division Three, Division Two, and Division One of the NCAA. And my background of that is a little extensive as well because I played soccer, and on the front end of this Zoom, I was getting chatting with the guys here, and I played soccer at UCLA in the early 2000s, won a national championship there, played, enjoyed my time there, and yes, things have changed, and the landscape of things have definitely are kind of ever changing, and the guys will share that with you guys.
Yeah.
So if it's a question specific for David um, and his group, that can be fine. At the end, we'll do some Q&A. If it's a question specific for me or for the college coach side of things, we can tackle that together. I'm happy to be a person answering questions as well. But I'm going to turn it over to these guys to kind of take on the meeting here, and give their perspective, and give you a little bit of the college landscape. And then I'm happy to provide questions, answers at the end in the Q&A. Um, and I'm obviously a resource. I want to let that be known also that like moving forward, anybody who has questions, it's like coach, director, we're there to assist. The recruiting process for the most part, I was at the UCLA ID camp this past summer, and they did the college meeting, college recruiting meeting in between some of the sessions. And they again that ID camp had all the levels of coaches, and I was invited as an alumni slash the junior college level coach. And what the theme was that it's very player led. Now, obviously, these guys are going to start to tell you about ways in which they can help aid that. It's going to be a player led process. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have assistance on that, but we as LA Breakers, we're not going to just sit there and be a concierge service to being placing people, and we have our job to do to coach and advise. And I want to be that level of advisory and help, but at the same time, that's not our service. This is their line of work. So I wanted to take a little different angle this year and invite David to come on to give his presentation. So I'm going to turn it over to David to introduce himself. He's played in the States. He's from Israel. He's played national team level over there. He's played college level soccer here. Played professional in Israel in the various divisions, maybe even the top division. Yeah, David, did you play in the top
Yeah.
division there?
Yeah, I did. I did
So
for 2 years. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
obviously very experienced and knowledgeable about the game. And so I'm going to turn it over and we'll go from here.
Thank you. Thank you, Tim. Well, good evening, everyone. I wanted to introduce myself and my team here at U-Stars Group. We're the privilege to meet with some of you already. Some are already current clients of ours. But again, thank you for taking the time this evening to meet with us. My name is David Zenati. I'm the owner and CEO of U-Stars Group. I founded the company about 15 years ago, and since then, the company has been growing pretty significantly. We started it in Israel, helping Israeli student athletes placed at universities around the U.S. A few years after, we branched out to a few countries in Europe. And in the last 3, 4 years, we also branched out to North America, Canada, and the US, of course. And our team has been growing. We have here tonight Gregory Irwin and Jordan Scott, who is based out of New York City. Gregory will talk about himself and his college experience and his role within U-Stars Group, same as Jordan Scott, who has been the head men's soccer coach at Manhattan University for the past 15 years and has taken a bigger role within the university this year. And I managed to steal him, luckily for us, but he's been one of the best coaches in the Northeast, and a very good friend of mine, a top professional as far as same as Gregory. And we'll talk about also how.
Dara, come, it says Zoom.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
Just make
we'll
sure
talk a
everybody
little
who's
bit
joining, just
about
make
our
sure we
company.
mute, but I'll go through. Sorry, David, I'll go through and mute people if they're not muted, but let's try and
Yeah,
get
no
everybody
problem.
to make
No
sure we're
problem. No
muted for
problem.
the meeting.
We're all good. So we'll start with a little presentation about our company and how we operate and how we can help you guys here with the challenging college placement process, especially nowadays. And after that, of course, feel free to ask questions during. And after that, we'll go to Q&As, and we'll be happy to have a great conversation about this whole thing. Please feel free to ask questions. This is what we're here for. So, Greg, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction, David. I'll just quickly introduce myself and then get started. My name is Gregory Irwin. I lead our player placement for Division III and then all player relations for our U.S. players, handling things from making sure all film is in one central location, all academic files are together so that when myself, Jordan, or David are reaching out to an Ivy League school, a school in the NESCAC, any school for that matter, and they turn around and say, can we see the transcript? Can we see an SAT, ACT score? I make sure all file is put together there. I was a 4-year player. I started my college career at Rutgers and then transferred over to Division III Brandeis. Was really lucky to play 3 years at the Division III space at a high academic school, played in a Final Four, and really connected well with David and the U-Stars group of what we're doing to help players and parents and families in what's become an overwhelming situation and process in recruiting, and get players and parents in pieces connected to the school that fits them perfectly. So we'll jump right in to the presentation from there. Right. So we already went through on a high level what U-Stars is. Started 15 years ago. Our network throughout college soccer is expansive from all levels within the NCAA, within the JUCO space, within the NAIA space. And most importantly, and I think the bottom bracket says it best, we have interpersonal relationships with clients in the schools we work with. And we really take a vested interest in making sure we help place your son and daughter at the school that fits them perfectly and walking you through this recruiting process. We'll look at a high level before we get into each individual step. We go through in the process when we get to know you guys. We'll sit down, have a few in-person or virtual meetings, get an idea of your financial situation, your child's academic standing, and then from there we go forward and putting forward an idea on how we're going to put together the profile that's going to match them to the university that fits them best. Like I mentioned, start with an initial in-person meeting, in-person or virtual, and then go from there. And this is what really starts our process, being upfront and honest in where we see things fitting best with you guys. If you're looking at a school in the Northeast, if you're looking at a school in the Southeast, if you think you should be matched in the Division I space, or you think you should be matched in the Division III space, all these pieces, we really try and make this go forward from the beginning, and have an upfront, honest understanding on where we think things can match well. From there, and I think this is kind of the highlight, I was having a chat with a few NESCAC coaches after their tournament game wins today, kind of catching up on different players and profiles and things like that. And they came back and said one of the biggest pieces is how quickly and straightforward we are when we make a client profile, a high level piece to get all the information of, again, academic standing, financial situation, and where you match best going forward, the highlight film, and giving a little bit of a characteristic background on the player profile we're pushing forward. It's really straightforward, it's clean, and it gets it's how we push across profiles straight away to colleges that are interested. I'm going to take a step back and talk about the college search like we mentioned prior. Like I mentioned, our reach is pretty expansive throughout all levels of college soccer, and we look to make the right fit based on what a student and family is looking for. If you're looking for a small school that's away from snow in the winter and you want to be further south, if you're looking to be at a nice New England, small liberal arts college, and those pieces, like I mentioned, our expansive network has us not just having email relationships with coaches, but direct interpersonal relationships with any staff that you're looking to be connected with at any level of college soccer. Again, just pushing forward. Like we mentioned prior, we do a really clean and healthy way of having all things in a really central and neat location. When a school is asking for any type of academic profile, wanting a full game clip, wanting a highlight film, when is so-and-so taking their next SAT, ACT, all those things are pretty easily accessible. And I make sure to have a really good location for all these pieces, and as well as the rest of the staff when we're working with our clients. Student visa part doesn't really apply for our American players. Just jumping ahead, looking at a list of some of our prominent placements we've had over the last few years in college soccer. In addition to this, we had Yaniv at University of Vermont last year who won the Division I national championship. We had a player at Amherst College, which was last year's Division III national champions. So our placement across college soccer, again, speaks for itself at all levels and all academic standings. Yeah, and just to wrap it up before we start getting into, I'll give the floor to Jordan Scott as well. Our reach is expansive, like I've mentioned over and over again, and our main mission is to walk hand in hand in finding the right university fit across all standings, again, from an academic standpoint, from a financial standpoint, and of course on-field match to be at a university program that wants you. I'll pass the floor over now to Jordan.
Hey guys, good evening. Tim, congratulations on your Big Ten title win today. I believe it was pretty easily done, 5-0 in the final. That sounded easy. To everybody else, good evening from New York. It is an incredible journey that your son is going to go on in terms of finding the correct college for their long-term future. I think that for the last 16 years, I've been at Manhattan University in New York, working as a head coach at Division I level. And if I look back, even just 5 years to around about COVID time to where we are now, NCAA has changed dramatically. Tomorrow morning, when I head in the office, I'm sure there will be another change, and it will continue to go every single day until your son hits college. What's really important when you go through this process is to lean on your coaches for the support, but to take advantage of the resources that are available to you both online and with an agency. And there's plenty out there. But the reason why I'm working with David is for years we worked hand in hand with players. We looked at the right fit. I didn't always get the player I wanted, but I respected David and his company for being upfront and honest and realistic. And we actually managed to get one in the last 3 years who did an incredible job for us. And anybody that I know in the coaching world, especially at Division I level, who knows David, will speak to him being just like I had him, honest and upfront. So that's why I'm involved. For me, it's about helping the next player get to where he should go. And as much as your college, your coaches and your club coaches and your administration will be able to help you, I will tell you that the journey is complicated, and the more voices you have and the more people on the inside you have, the easier it will be. And so with that said, I will open the floor to any and all questions, and I'm excited because this is the part where you get to be specific about your concerns, and then hopefully we can give you an idea of the knowledge and information we have at our hand. So I'll leave the floor open.
Great. Thank you, Jordan and Greg.
Who's going to be first?
Please feel free, guys.
I'm happy to accept like a chat if you want to just throw it in a chat too, separate to me, and I can help assist with the question if you don't feel comfortable voicing one over the public forum like that. I'm happy to take a text too. But I think it's important to note that trying to give examples. So if people are wondering about various questions regarding college soccer in general, myself or any of the guys here are happy to answer. Also, just the recruiting process, and from that coach perspective, no question's a bad question when it comes to college soccer. It is confusing, and part of the reason I had these guys on too is to let you guys know that there are resources, and David's taken some initiative and taken some meetings with me. So if we can help give them some potential business, great. If players want to do it on their own, I kind of, in a weird way, I don't know if maybe you guys can touch on that a little bit, because it's kind of like, it's daunting. And I know people definitely like to have assistance, or I mentioned in the beginning, a service to be able to help. Whether you're a college soccer player or not, you're just looking for college soccer, going to college, and you need counseling or advisory. That's something that this company is providing, but you can either do it on your own, or if you're looking for help or guidance, that could happen as well. You can obviously use the resources. I think Jordan mentioned it, like talk to your coaches, talk to your coaches, talk to your directors, get guidance. If you need a service to try to help you out, this is a big one here too. So I want to let that be known, kind of what the intention is here.
Yeah, I think there's a question in the chat now. Um, Someone asked, what are the criteria you look at in figuring out which schools are the right fit for your kid? I really I'll take a stab at answering that.
Yeah.
I think it comes down to the conversation you have, the unique conversation you have with any one of the people involved with UStars and with your club. Everybody has specific wants, needs. Sometimes it's financial, sometimes it's location. Once we narrow down, we go through our criteria, and we promote those questions and we get the information we need. We can pretty much map out arguably where you should be looking and giving you advice on where you're likely to see either playing time or maybe it's sit on the bench for a couple of years. Sometimes that comes down to conversation with the coach as well. So we may send out your information and then pick up the phone to the people we know and say, "What do you think?" That's a pretty unique process. So when we're figuring out the right fit, it's a team effort. Your club coaches, the agency, the family, and then obviously the player has to make the decision at the end of the day.
Yeah. And basically what we're trying to do, especially after, the first meeting, which are free of charge, just so you guys know, we're trying to provide a very honest and professional evaluation, for the kids and their parents, educate them a little bit more about, the current situation and landscape in college soccer that has changed pretty dramatically in the last, I would say, 3 to 5 years. Nowadays, there is way less spots for younger, talented American kids in the Division One space specifically, and people needs to realize that. We've managed to see a lot of people wasting a lot of time, energy, and money going into ID camps, showcases, and things like that. When the chances are not in their favor in trying to be part of a Division One roster. Okay.
And
Yeah.
sorry, David, can I just jump in there? I'll give you a great example. 2 weeks ago, we had a phone call with a young man who was interested in the school that's actually on your screen. And what he didn't know is that because of the house settlement, and if you haven't read into the house settlement, he did not know that that university in particular is opting in. So when you opt into the house settlement, then the NCAA have come up with a bargain agreement. Schools are now opting in. There are roster caps. So that university and program specifically has currently got 35 people in the program. They have to get down to 28. And so next year, he's probably not going to make it. So that was a conversation we had. That was a private conversation we had with the coaches about opting in, opting out to see where he stood. And we had that answer with one phone call. Whereas some people who do not have the ability to pick up the phone or do not have the connections to pick up the phone would never get that. And you'd probably waste 6 months chasing a dream that was never going to happen. That's what David's trying to tell you. And with the limited spots, how that works, everyone will say to me, on a national committee level, people will say to me, "Hey, Jordan, it's only going to affect Division One." It won't, because everyone at Division One who's being cut to make the roster caps is going to drop into 2 and 3 and NAIA, which means that that's just going to keep faltering down every year. So what you'll see a growth around the country right now in club soccer programming. Why? Because there's not enough spots to put people on these days. If you want to be ahead of the curve, know who's opting in, who's opting out. You really need you need people on the inside. And it sounds like Tim has that in certain areas. But UStars, I think, as well would be able to probably enhance that support.
Yeah, and that relates to a question I just saw about the difference between us and a company like NCSA, for example. So it's a much different type of service where we don't just create a profile for the player and then email everyone and his dog in America and pray for somebody to reply to us. We're trying to be very specific, very efficient with how we work, and it's a very personal service as well, as we go and work with you every step of the way, okay? And try to target only the right schools and the right coaches. And the way we approach and reach out to those coaches are mostly not by emails, but by private phone calls or even on WhatsApp. So it's a very direct and personal service, unlike the companies like the NCSAs of the world.
I'll jump in even with David saying, and it's become a good story now when we talk about NCSAs. I was at a prep showcase a few weeks ago. I was sitting next to the assistant of Carnegie Mellon as he got his first NCSA email of the game, and he said, "How many do you think I'm going to get by halftime?" Between halftime and between the start of the game and halftime, he got 30 emails from NCSA, and at halftime he swiped all of them into his archive tab to put them in for his camps. So to elaborate a little bit more, like David's mentioning, it's a very interpersonal relationship, and I can't speak to that enough of what we are. Where when we reach out to a school and we tell them we know the parent, we know the family, we've already done the due diligence behind the scenes of we know what their SAT scores are, we know what their GPA is. A coach has a lot of confidence knowing that they're not doing the back end work of having to do the due diligence that a company like ourselves have already done. And it's why we've been revered and we have the relationships we do throughout college soccer because of those relationships and the knowledge and the honesty that we'll push forward to college coaches.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have another question here. What age or year do D1-2 coaches start paying attention to an average to above average type of ECNL player? Has the transfer portal significantly changed coach behavior? So let me answer the first one. I think that, of course, it's probably more like junior year that they really start to ramp it up. But they will have eyes, specifically the programs with multiple staff, they will have eyes on people as a sophomore level, but they'll start to ramp up their interest going into junior year of high school. What I would caveat that with is that if you prepare yourself as a freshman and sophomore, both academically and athletically, then when you get to your junior year, you'll be in a much healthier place to be recruited. What a lot of people do is say, well, if they're only recruiting me in my junior year, I'll just wait till then and then get the service. The problem with that is you wake up as a junior and you go, oh my God, I can't believe I got a C in history and a D in English in my first year. Now I'm behind the eight ball. That can affect packages. It can affect recruitment. And then to follow up on that, has the transfer portal significantly changed coach behavior? Yeah, completely. Completely. It is. Everybody's living in a transfer world now. In the old days, you used to sit and write down how many spots we're going to open up every year on a roster. Now you can't even predict it. You cannot predict it. And it's not just coach behavior, it's also student athlete behavior. So if a player doesn't like where he's at, he gets on the portal. He may leave in December and go to a new school for the start of spring, and then wake up at the end of spring and think, yeah, I'm going to make another change. It's becoming chaos. So I think it's affected both.
For some perspective, when it comes to the transfer portal, I'd like to give a couple examples to everybody. From our 07 ECNL team that were seniors, that was our oldest team last year. We had 19 players on the roster. 3 of those players were juniors in high school only. So 2 of them retained on our 08 07 ECNL team. One left to go try to play MLS Next at LA Surf, but now wants to play high school soccer. So I don't know how that's going to work. That's a separate topic. So you take those three players out, that means 16 seniors on the team last year, 8 of which are playing Division III college soccer, NCAA, and 4 are playing for me at Santa Monica College at the community college level. Um, so there's possibility there with going there, but when it comes to the transfer portal, we're pretty Division III heavy where people are, and I think our knowing our clientele pretty well within our group, I know that there's a lot of really good academic schools Division III. Probably a lot of those kids could potentially play Division II, but that's the conversations you need to have either with some sort of agency like these fellows have, or just directly with a coach and me. But I know just figuring out that package of like where you want to go and what you want to do. We also had an '05 player that just finished up his junior year playing right now at Cal State Fullerton Division One. He went to UC Santa Cruz he was '05 ECNO player, Nico Wheeler. He was playing up at UC Santa Cruz and he did really, really well for a couple of years. And he got on the transfer portal after having some success at that level and ended up going to Division One. We've also had player '04 ECNO player Jason Moreno who went the Santa Monica College route to me, and then he's playing at UC Riverside Division One. So there's not it's very hard to kind of calculate how it's not really that linear, so to speak. You're advancing into these various levels. But with the portal doesn't mean that you're stuck at that level. Obviously the community college has opportunities to transfer after your 2 years, but when it comes to going to the 4 year, some go Division One and then realize I'm not playing at all and might want to go to maybe a lower level Division One or even drop down in Division Two to get playing time. So that I just wanted to make a note of that too.
Yeah, and I saw another question about if we recommend doing ID camps or showcases. So it's not that we don't recommend, but we want you to do it only when there is a concrete interest from that specific coach. Okay, I saw especially the last few years, people are attending ID camps and showcases and taking trips and flights and spending thousands of dollars and attending an ID camp where they don't really have a connection with the coach yet, or they just received like a standard email, a generic email from a third assistant coach who's telling them, yeah, we would like to see you in the ID camp, but it doesn't mean that there is a concrete interest. So this is also part of what we do, making sure that before we make this investment of going on a trip like that, it doesn't matter if you're going to San Diego or flying to the East Coast, there's a big investment here. And we don't want you to make this investment and spend all that money and time and energy if we haven't had a serious conversation with the coach. We make sure he knows you personally. We make sure he already saw your highlights video at least, and he feels like there is a realistic chance you could be on his roster, okay, after he's going to see you live in person in that ID camp or showcase, if that makes sense.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, hey, how's it going? I'm Adon. I'm with the 2009 team. I have a question for you guys. So with your service and NCSA takes anyone. If I have $1,500, I pay them and they're hired. So
Yeah.
you mentioned that with the first meeting, you can discuss and it's free of charge. Would you be able to make an assessment and say, hey, Adon, based on what we saw, based on the highlights, we think your kid has JUCO potential and can't even play in the D3? Would you guys be able to make that assessment?
That's actually exactly what we do in the first meeting. We would provide you with our honest and professional evaluation of what we think would be the right fit for your son or daughter, okay? And in some cases, our expectations are in a line, and that is fine, you know. But if we get into a situation where we feel like the right thing for your son, for example, is to start at the Division 3 level or JUCO level because we don't feel he's ready enough to start at the Division 1 level, okay, or the process will be too challenging, too difficult, then we're gonna tell you that. And if you don't agree, that's fine. We will respect that, but we're probably not gonna work with you just because we don't want to waste time for you or for us.
And to piggyback on that, if say the vision aligns, is it a set cost or is it dependent on each individual customer and what that cost is?
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, so our service fees is fixed and steady for everyone. So we charge 6K as a total amount, but we also divide it into two installments. Okay, we charge half of it at the beginning of the service after we make sure that there is a green light from both sides and both sides feel comfortable of starting this process with us. And the additional fee, the other 50%, is being charged only after a successful placement has been made. Okay? And that means that, this is a school where, we already talked about and prepared a list of schools, okay, that we feel like it's the right match. We already spoke with the coach, most likely went on a visit, okay, and decided that this is the place for us, okay? And only after that, and obviously when, the kid is being officially admitted, then we charge, the additional fee.
Thank you. And thank you guys for taking the time and speaking to us.
Absolutely.
Do you guys have a number of roughly how many American players that you've gotten into Division 1, Division 2 that have worked through your service? And the last couple of players, specifically speaking, American players?
Yep.
Because a lot of the players are foreign players these days, and that's a concern and a question asked in the chat.
Yeah. As I mentioned, we've got into the North American market about 3-4 years ago, and we've managed to place quite a few American players already, and we're already working on a few as we go. We're already working with a few players from this club as well, and managed to meet with some great people also during this past year. So yeah, I mean, we can also share a flyer that we've created in the last few months with an example of American players that we've placed from the West Coast, the East Coast, pretty much everywhere in the US.
Thank you for that. There's another one. So you guys don't recommend doing ID camps or showcases was a question that was on there, and I'd just like to say no to that. No one's recommending that not happening. Me as the boys director, I recommend trying to do those, but I would do your homework. Is it a school you really want to go to? Everybody runs ID camps. I would just say this. There's a lot of youth soccer camps out there in the world. Some are really, really good. Some suck. Let's just be honest. At the college level, it's the same thing. The stigma, it's a money grab, is not correct. I really like the new UCLA soccer coach. He's trying to do a job. He's doing a good job. They won the Big Ten tonight. I was stoked to see them do that. They started out slow. They've come around. When he ran his ID camp, I went and coached it. He invited coaches from all levels, including me as an alumni and a community college coach. But he had D3 representation there with Caltech and Claremont McKenna out there. Those two coaches, very nice guys. He had Westmont College, and he had Dominican, which is up north, Division 2 levels, and San Marcos. So he had every representation there. He didn't bring direct competitors to himself to the ID camp, but he had representation of college coaches. If I heard that, I'm going to go to the UCLA ID camp. Maybe I'm UCLA, maybe I'm not, but I have literally every level covered across the board. He had University of Laverne out there, which is a Division III, and the guy's a good guy. The Legends director actually is the head coach now, Drew Rea. This is like a good place to go to get seen by a bunch of different college coaches. I would say a big yes, go to that ID camp. That's a great idea. It's local. It's local right here. If you're not interested, if you're not interested in staying in California and you want an experience, you want to move, you have to I'd say figure all that out. Do your own homework as to what you guys want, like what your son wants. The boys are on here right now. What do you want to do with your college soccer? Where is it that you want to be academically? Where is it that you want to be college level? Do those all match with the assessment from either myself or a company? Then figure that out. But then once you do that, figure out whether or not the camp is worthwhile. I've heard of a lot. I'm not going to name the names of those, and I can again separately advise. Sometimes I'm going to say I don't know if I don't know, but I have heard several ones that just like it's run by just the college itself. The head coach never shows up, and a bunch of the players on the team are out with flip flops and they don't really care that much. Okay, that's kind of a bad one to go to. And then there's other ones that I just described, like you said, really good one to go to. And especially if it's somewhere you really want to go. And David mentioned if you've had a personal connection, like you feel like you're getting recruited. You know what I keep hearing from people and the college coaches out there is like it's almost like for lack of a better comparison, is almost like dating. Like, are you getting a good vibe that you're getting recruited, or are you just kind of annoying that person to try to get in there? That might not be a great fit. If you're feeling good response and you feel like you've developed a relationship a little bit with that coach, and then they're inviting you to the ID camp, and it's somewhere you really want to go and aligns with all the things you want academically, location, geography, everything, then go. Then go. I would encourage you to go.
Yeah, so we'll definitely share our flyer with Tim, also this presentation as well after this meeting. I also encourage you to reach out to some of our current clients within the club. One is Noam Baruch, his dad is Uzi, and the other one is Owen Shore. His dad is Noah Shore. Fantastic people. So feel free to reach out to them and kind of ask and check out how we operate. Yeah, get some more information.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I would love that. Tim, if you can share my information after this meeting.
Yep.
We would love to engage with people that would be interested in meeting with us. I'm also going to be in town probably in the spring. I'm in LA probably three times a year, and in the US every month or two. So we could meet. We can do the first meeting, via Zoom, and probably the second meeting in person. We also have another representative who is located in California, in San Luis Obispo. His name is Jordan Carver. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to take the meeting today due to a family emergency. But yeah, so we have a team pretty much in every location in the US, in the East Coast, West Coast, and also the Midwest now. So just so you guys know.
Sounds good. So, David, what I'll do is I'll share this recording with everybody so they have the information, and then also your contact information, and then people that would like to proceed with you, great. Otherwise, hopefully people learned a thing or two about the process of the college recruiting, and obviously I'm a resource within the club 100%. So reach out to me if you guys need anything or need some advice on the process.
Yeah. So thank you again, everyone, for taking the time to meet with me and my team. And we look forward to speak and meet with everyone who interested in talking further with us about this thing. All right. Thank you again.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
guys.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.